More Life Quad Maintenance. Thanks for tuning in. Trying to fix my beeper. My locator's not working. Can't figure it out for some odd reason. I don't know. I had the same buzzer hooked up to the same flight controller. One of these guys right here. It's got the 4 LEDs. It's a little 5-volt buzzer. Try to run it different. Let's see here. I hope everybody's New Year's going good. Mine's going pretty good, I guess. I'll reattach the negative here. I really trimmed all my wires really short on this, so it has made it really difficult to service. I guess I could just connect it to the TX up top here. Should have voltage. Should be ground out all the way. Well, yeah, we should be good. We'll just put on a pin. I'm having to use the first flight controller that I got with my first quad because all my other flight controllers are toast right now. I hope that grounded that. Hey, whatever, Isaac. All right. Let's see if that did anything. Still nothing. I wonder. Wait a second. Yeah, blue buzzer, white LED. battery, I don't know, when the voltage starts to act a little silly. If anything, battery voltage, so just okay. Get the computer. I use Betaflight, by the way. Okay, modes, beeper, auxiliary 3 should be on. Oh, that's strange. Let's set up. It's very strange. I've got pretty sure this is how I had it hooked up before. Lost, disarming, arming, reach low. Okay. Back to modes here. There's gotta be something I'm missing. I don't get it. Let's try hooking up the LED signal. Probably won't do anything. I'll see if I can at least get the LEDs to fire up on the board. Maybe it's a bad one. I don't know. I really to my camera. My camera comes in tomorrow, so my VTX. This is VTX I use. Oh, there you go. It's not bad. It's got pretty good range, but the interference on it just sucks. It doesn't really affect the performance um, because the batteries get so warm from voltage. Um, the one thing, a warm up period, because if you try to fly with a cold battery, you can start with 100% and test the batteries in different ways. And but other than everything else, it really doesn't affect, not that I can tell. Uh, the coldest I've flown in is probably 80 degrees. Uh, with, like I flew today, it was high wind. It was a little chilly, so I don't think it really affects it that much. The moisture, I think, is going to affect it more than anything. Yeah, we might cameras in. I'm gonna rehook up that camera. I'm not sure why this isn't got power. Buzzer's hooked up to BZ negative for the chime. It's got power. Maybe I tried disconnecting it from Betaflight. The flight controller is beeping like when I hit the it should be beeping, but I'm not. So what I want to do is F3. SP Racing F3 buzzer not working. I think we figured out the buzzer. This particular buzzer is integrated with the LED. It's a 2-in-1. Thank you. It's a 2-in-1. So you have to power the board, and then, which is just 5 volts in your ground, and then there's a buzzer signal wire, just like there's a signal wire for an LED strip or a motor. A comm wire. We'll call it a comm wire. So it's a loud buzzer too. It's about 110 decibel. All right, quick test here. Battery. That other battery was dead too. All right. Power should be good. So I'm gonna flip the arm button. There we go. Still not chirping on auxiliary 3 though. And I really want to be able to just flip my auxiliary switch and have my beacon scream at me. Oh. Funky things happen when you mess with these. When you touch the signal wire, so it bumped something. I'm gonna snip that. I should probably heat shrink it too. You just got to make sure your batteries are already to temperature when you start flying. It's about the main thing. I got an idea too. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I was thinking about this today. The school I was at had like a ton of cops. They all drove by me. They must have had some like training thing going on there. But I thought, hey, how cool would it be and they usually watch me when I go to this field to fly. They'll stop and watch traffic, and I know they're watching me fly my drone, because I do flybys by them too. Maybe they'll appreciate that. I don't know if you can see that. It's red and blue. Let's see here. Blue. Make it more abrupt. The color change here. Purple. There we go. Yeah. If the battery life was better on these things, it probably would be a good investment. because you could chase somebody real easily. And you could probably put like a taser on one of these and just run into someone and just tase the shit out of them. That's terrible. That's just terrible. Let me see here. I might leave it like that. I'll change one thing here. There we go. Solid. Alright, beeper's working. LEDs are working. Cleaned off most of the grass. Well, I really messed this thing up yesterday. I was power looping some pine trees. And I guess I didn't mess it up. I don't know what the heck happened. Maybe I throttled down all the way. I don't know. The flight controller just went whoop and turned the whole drone and just kind of did a dive straight into a puddle. And this motor right here was full of dirt. In fact, there's still some dirt inside the bell. But it was locked up, wouldn't even turn. It's okay now. So. I better hook up another battery. I didn't even check the weather tomorrow. I hope it's good, actually. Let me check it. Today was pretty good. Kind of windy, but once you're flying so fast, you really doesn't affect the drone too much, unless it's just crazy winds. Like it was probably about 15-mile-an-hour winds today. Let's see. Tomorrow, Thursday's high of 37 and sunny. So that's good. You will be flying tomorrow. Okay. Mode. God, why won't that beeper work? I don't get it. So I'm getting a signal in Betaflight, but it's just not making a connection here, which doesn't make any sense because it's communicating. I don't need to add a range. We'll go to config. Is there something I'm missing here? Display channel ordering. I don't know. Everything seems to be set up correctly in Betaflight. RX lost, RX landing, disarming, arming. Crash flip, cam connects, black box erase, USB. Beep when flight controller is powered. No. Well, I guess what I can do is just arm it and disarm it, arm it and disarm it. Or I can just flip it in and out of. I think it chirps when I go in and out of acro. Here we go. That was loud. That works. All right. I'm gonna leave it at that. Put a little piece of heat shrink here, and I'm gonna. Well, maybe I should just remove the LED wire. I'm gonna do that. That makes the most sense. So we're gonna disconnect from Betaflight. Disconnect the battery. Disconnect our USB. And remove the LED since it's non-functional. Don't really need it on there. Really, I just bought these for the buzzer. On my other quad, I had it set up to where it was a tail light also, and it worked when I had it set up before. I just plugged it in. I didn't set any parameters for the LED. I just powered it up, and it powered up red. And that was fine. It was great. It was tail light. That works for me. I save all this wire. That silicone wire is priceless. Let's see here. Okay, so that's good. I need a tip cleaner for my soldering iron. This is a darn good soldering iron. I got it off of Amazon for like $12. I don't know. It's got adjustable setting right here. The tips are really good. And it came with several extras, which I probably won't need for a while. Turn temp down on that. Okay. Let's heat shrink back. And I was shooting video, which I'm going to post, of power looping yesterday. That pine tree that I did two full. It was my first successful power loop of like shooting a gap and power looping an object. And these pine trees have about 5 feet of clearance underneath. So, I don't know, it's pretty cool. Because the main place I fly is in a field, and there's not much. So I've been scoping out good places that I can go fly. And this school seems to work out lately because of the holidays. They've been closed, and they haven't been open, so. It's a nice spot, lots of trees. There's a gazebo. And it's all in the front. It's in an area that's unused. Really, it's just by a parking lot. the heck is that? 5 volt. What is that going to? Oh, that wasn't good.
Oh, but it didn't pull the foil.
It's never a good idea to tug or push on a wire to, especially if it's been tinned and it's stiff. Shoot, everything just came undone. Because it doesn't take much to pull the foils, the little gold foils, off of this stuff. Yeah, you can rip a foil off real easy, real fast. And then your board's toast. Then you're not happy. Just a couple issues here. I need to take advantage of these other 5 volt leads that I have. Instead of bunching everything up on this one. I guess I could start pulling from the flight controller pad, but I don't like loading up the flight controller with stuff. I don't want all that amperage going through. There's a ton of cut grass on this thing still. There's chunks of grass everywhere from it flipped over and it just and it pretty much burned the grass down. Burned the grass down to nothing. I think I might need to break out the tweezers. There we go. I like doing power loops. It's a nice trick. I'm trying to figure out, incorporating everything together. It's pretty wild to see some of the competitive acro. Those guys are just wild. You think the guys on just the basic YouTube channels like Rotor Riot are good. And then you look at some of these competitions where these people are just competing. Man, they are good. Like on UAV Futures, Stewie highlighted this young guy, and he's just super quick and fast, just with racing and with his freestyles, just really quick. Yep, that's him. Yeah, I think Stewie's had him on quite a bit lately. I think he had him on when he did the whatchamacallit, Mobula 7 review. I think I'm sitting on some bundle here. I'm trying to get it settled good. I'm bouncing on here. I think I'm just gonna put taller standoffs on. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I need to Schneikes. I'm running low on just about everything here. Is that gonna fit? Barely. I need to upgrade to a soft mount. Catch that? That should make it. I'll just throw some tape over the top of that. Yeah, it should be good. Better than my wires getting crunched. Between a PDB and is this the same? Yeah, between my PDB and my flight controller, it'd probably not be the best sandwich. Might fry some stuff. One thing I am going to do whenever they get the schedule posted is do quad camp through Rotor Riot. I think that would be fun. Go to a city. Doubt they'd come here. That'd be cool. It's all the Rotor Riot pilots and basically everybody in Rotor Riot, and they get together and they have quad camp where you just go and I don't know, it's a one-on-one with all the pilots, so they go over building and flying, and it's just a nice one-on-one type thing. Yeah, they had them all over. They had them in Vegas and California and Atlanta. I think maybe Detroit. Now what are we going? I like using the nylon standoffs because they just break, and I'd rather have them break than other things. I've had to replace quite a few where the whole stack just blows apart from the impact. But it all goes, once I take all the crap out, it goes back together real easy. But I really think that it saves me from other damage. As long as you put in like a breaking point in things, if you purposely put in a weak spot into these, they'll last longer, I think. Kind of like the Connex Pro. Connex Pro Sight is what it is. Is that what it is? No, that's just the Pro Sight. What's the drone? I don't know what it is, but it breaks apart on purpose. The arms fall off. You just reconnect it. But it's a full-size mini quad, or a 250 millimeter arm wheelbase. Strap my buzzer on here. I just saddle it up on top of my receiver, and I use the same tie-off slots that my receiver uses. I do this right here because I would mount it like on some of the taller standoffs for the frame, but the clearance on this quad there's like no clearance between the propellers and the standoffs. So I pretty much have to put this on here like this unless I is that? I guess I could mount it to the top. These frame holes, these smaller ones, just barely make the grade, but I would be afraid of it getting damaged. I'd probably crush it right away if it were up top like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I don't put too much pressure on my receiver. Here we go. That should be good. Just like that. It just rides like that. Works pretty well. Buzzer shoots out the back so it doesn't get covered up. Okay. Do one more power up here before I put the frame back together here. It's good. It's good. Finger on this. I can't now. There we go. I should have titled this How to Anger Your Wife in the Middle of the Night. Apparently, the RX lost signal beeper beacon is set up correctly. That was good and bad. Alright, well, so instead of flipping the switch, I guess I'll just turn off my receiver and that'll throw the beacon. Wow, that was loud. Yeah, so I think I fried my omnibus. It doesn't work anymore. At least the lights are not. And I just got this for Christmas. And I really wanted it because it's got a built-in OSD. Because this is what I was. Where is it? Where's the rest of it? Okay, so I had to get one of those, which is a breaker board, breakout. I don't know. Apparently this is the old way you flashed OSDs in this hobby. Through Arduino, or whatever the heck it is, which is you probably know what it is. It's software for programming. Anyway, yeah, I had one of those small little OSDs, and I couldn't figure it out. I could not get the software and everything, so I gave up and I just said, hey, give me something with an OSD built in, and pretty much just about everything does now. I think you can get a camera with a built-in OSD and everything. So, okay, so I actually had to, like I said, it fell in mud. I mean, it was like sand. I just rinsed it off under my sink and then just dried it off real well. And I don't see any corrosion or anything like that. It's actually this motor. Yeah, looks absolutely fine. Can't tell. Except for that little bit of mud inside the bell that I didn't get. But there's no rust or signs of corrosion or anything yet. So, pretty durable motors. These are those Sam Cooke motors. They're not bad, you know. Just for I know I'm gonna beat the shit out of these motors, so that's why I'll probably with my tax return I'll probably build. Basically lost everything. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. I hope I don't go into water. But I need to get some conformal coating and some shake and bake. Bardwell did a review on shake and bake, which is supposed to be pretty good. It's supposed to be like next level, industrial coating for electronics, microelectronics, because you can solder through it and it doesn't mess up your switches or like conformal coating if it gets into like boot switch or something like that, or anything that moves and has a a toggle switch in it, you won't get connection anymore. So that shake and bake is still good because you can still have a electrical connection through it, and you basically just it's fluid. You put it in a little bag, and you drop your chip in, and you just make sure it's all coated, and you take it out, and it's pretty much dry instantly and ready to go. Pretty cool stuff. I'll get some of that so I can fly, but I'd love to just fly in the rain. Wouldn't bother me. I think Sam Shepard, his channel, he used the modified silicone conformal coating, and he's got videos of just flying outright in the rain. So I think it's pretty good stuff. What I'd really like to do is do long range FPV. Like, I got it in the back of my head. I just want to get a TBS Crossfire and whatever TBS stuff that I can get. I want to get my hands on, because I just hear great things about it. And they've got a module for the FrSky, the long range module. I think that's what it is. What's with the Crossfire? Cool thing about the Crossfire is it's got a beacon, a GPS beacon built into it, and it's got its own battery. So even if you wreck and the battery becomes disconnected somehow, or the battery drains, you don't get to your drone quick enough before the beacon kills the battery, the GPS lasts for a few days. I think the battery for the GPS lasts a few days. So that's really, really cool. Much needed for long range. So I guess technically that's kind of what I started in with FPV. I got an Autel 4K camera drone, and I never flew out its full capacity. I think I flew out like 3/4 of a mile, and it could go out like 1.2. But that cost like $800. So I didn't want to lose it. It was my first one, so I was really, really apprehensive to fly it that far. Even though it had all the cool stuff on it, like the go home feature and GPS, and if you lost signal, it would just return back to its takeoff point. It would set that GPS. Pretty cool. And I think I'm pretty sure you can do all that stuff and customize long range mini quads. I am going to put new props on because I beat the crap out of these. I don't know if you can see how beat up that prop is. Here's another shining example of a very beat up prop. This is chewed up. We'll go with green. These doll prop cyclones have been my go-to. I love them. Oop. And I fly props out. Pushes everything out of your way. Pushes stuff away from the camera. If you think about it, it's how swimmers go through water. It pushes the wake out of the way. It gets when you run by stuff, instead of the propeller spinning backwards, if you hit something and this is traditionals, they spin in, but spinning out, if you like run by something, it'll walk by instead of running into it, just stopping the propeller. You at least want to keep trying and going and moving forward. Like when I hit trees and stuff, it just kind of bounces and keeps going. It destroys the tips, but works out pretty good. That's something I got from Nerk. Makes a whole lot of sense. Oh, I'm gonna have to switch the lights. I got different props on here. And I'm just kidding. I'm not that bad. I tried to do one quad that was all red and black, but one thing goes on it, and I'm not going to buy specific red props. So that just kind of went out the window. No more color coordinated drones for me. I'm just going to use what I got, and that'll just have to do. All right, I think do a hover test real quick. What time is it? I still got a lot of batteries to charge. 11:30? No, 11. It's midnight. Son of a bitch. Oh man, that's okay. Okay, what battery do I want to use? What's this thing? What's the voltage on this? That's toast. It's gonna be loud. Shit. double strap your batteries, because if this thing moves, it will mess up your flight controller, and it'll just start shifting all of a sudden. If your battery twists, it'll set it off. Right on. That's something I got from Rotor Riot. Makes a whole lot of sense. Plus, you don't want it flying off. I mean, shit. I better put a piece of tape on that. No, I can't get to it. There we go. We're good, it works. Keep forgetting about that. Alright. Like I said, I'm gonna upload that. I've been, since my GoPro broke, which I don't even know where it is anymore, actually. Since it broke, I've just been setting up my camera and filming, which is fine. At least I can document my progress. But I'm going to upload a video of just some of the stuff that I've done the past couple days. Shooting gaps and stuff. Like today I was shooting gaps like it was my job. I think I'm definitely going to have to do some buy some racing gates or make some of my own or something like that. So I can practice speed and cornering at high speed. I've been using the parking lot and just going around the light poles and just trees and stuff, just banking real quick. But I'd like to practice going through gates. Yeah, wooden dowel. A lot of people, I've heard that before. That's not a bad idea. I think I might do that because they're cheap. You could probably just tape them together, probably. I don't know. What do you do? Tape, glue. What's up? We're pretty much wrapping up. You do that, you use tape. That makes sense. Just using like a masking tape or something like that. Because gates aren't freaking cheap. Last time I checked. For what they are, just to get beat up. it's not bad. What size do you use? Like 1/4 inch? I would think something smaller than that might just blow apart. Pull this tape off of here. So my workbench is full of like bits of grass from my drone. I picked all kinds of mud off of this thing. That's one thing I need to do is get a scale. I have no idea what this thing weighs. It doesn't feel too heavy, but I don't know. I definitely need to start weighing it so I know what's up. I don't know, just this has totally consumed me, this hobby, in the past, like no joke, the past 3 months. I didn't, for the past like 2 years, it's just about how long I've had my Autel. I'm like, oh man, I should have bought a racing drone and built it. And because I've just been watching Mr. Steele videos for the past like 2 years. And man, I don't know, I'm in 100%. That's for sure. Yeah, it's like a lifestyle. It is. It's like, I don't know. My wife's on board with it, so that's cool. So I pretty much come home from work after I fly. I fly on my way home from work, and I come home and I start working on my quads pretty much immediately. I play with my daughter, we eat dinner and all that stuff, but I pretty much lay everything out on the bench and start working on stuff, or whatever I can if I have stuff to work on. But usually, I've got some type of repair from beating it up, so I'm still got tons of mud on this thing. There's always some type of repair that I gotta do. That's another reason why I want to do the quad camp through Rotor Riot, just to get build tips. They've all been flying for a lot longer than I have, so any knowledge is much appreciated. That's not good. I don't like that. That's coming undone there. I got a couple cool T-shirts. Speaking of the lifestyle, I got one that's it's a picture of a Tyrannus X9, and it just says "Control Freak." It's a pretty cool T-shirt. And then I got another one. I really like it. It says "The Quad Father." It's got a picture of like a DJI camera drone on there. My wife made fun of me because I started stickering up my laptop. Let's see. I like this one. That's my favorite. From FR Sky. We keep adding to it. I'm a nerd out like that. I've never done that. I've never put stickers on my laptop. Ever. Like I said, I'm 100%. This is just too cool. Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm on my phone. The first kit that I bought was, I think it was $140. It was on Amazon. It was the LHI. It was a 240 millimeter. Came with 2205, 23 kV motors. Came with your SP F3. It came with your standard Maytag PDB. Came with a VTX. Came with the camera. The camera sucked because there's no depth, or there's no field of view. It sucks. It's just straightforward. It's like looking at an old square TV. It's just flat. There's no fisheye or angle or anything. Um, Good quad. The frame, not the best frame. Um, it's just the way the frame was built was just had weak points on it, and you could just look at it and tell. Sniper, what do you mean? Is that your first kit or your first build or something? Ah, gotcha. See, I'm still getting hip with the lingo here. Sniper view. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but it was a good. Uh, it was a good quad. You know, it was stable. You know, other than the frame, and it came with real standard frame, but it was pretty good. You know, it didn't come with a controller or a receiver. That's one thing that you would have to supply. But all I used was I got the Ghoul RC off Amazon for like $50, and the FSI IA6 6-channel receiver. It's kind of tricky wiring those up because the tutorials online aren't very good. So I had to like piece 3 or 4 tutorials together to actually figure out how to get my flight controller wired up. It's not bad. It's a pretty good. The motors are strong. I'll tell you that. I've if you see one of my I've wrecked probably like 100 times with those motors, and they seem just fine. I'm sure the bearings are a little warped, but that LHI, I'm pretty sure it's 240 millimeter. I did a review on it. It's pretty good. It's good. It's good to learn off of and branch out off of. Um, gotta build a quad. Got to. That's importante. Building and understanding the functionality of it, because that's what scared me before I got into it. The Wizard, they're good. If you want to get into it quicker and you just want to get into it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the Wizards. In fact, I think Bardwell just put out another couple reviews. They got even better. Yeah, they're good. And like I said, I think they've gotten even better. So that's not a bad route, and I think that they're about the same price. I think you can get them upward of 150 to, I don't know. I priced them early on. But yeah, it's up to you. If you want to just jump in and fly, that's the way to go. If not, I highly recommend getting a kit. $129? What? That's an awesome deal. That's awesome. And you don't have to build it. Shit, I would do that. Really. Get up in the air. The faster you're up in the air, the better. You know, that's what counts, I guess. For $130? Yeah, it's addicting. Once you build your first one, you'll be like, oh, I want to get this part, I want to get that part, and this part, and that part. I order stuff every week from Amazon. Every week. Like I got these motors, these little AOKs, R Vector. These are these were really good motors, except I wrecked. They're actually really good motors for $45. Um, and the bear, you can feel them. They're just locked in and tight. Man, it's just a good motor. It's the harder it is to spin freehand, the better the motor. Uh, what happened to me? The bell just blew off of it. Of course, it's the last one I pick up. Watch this. Oh man, just popped off. The screw just busted out of there, incoincidentally. So I probably repair that, but yeah, you build your own. You're gonna go nuts because you'll be like, oh, I want to get these ESCs and upgrade, and yeah, it's just so much fun building it because then it's you're just that much more I don't know, connected to it, I guess. Especially I don't know if you've gotten to play with Betaflight yet and mess with your PIDs. Um, some people say that doesn't make any difference. I guess if you're a really experienced pilot and you know how the sticks, react, it won't. But I changed my rates um, to where I'm at like 800 degrees of rotation per second. And I changed my center weight off of recommendation from Josh Bardwell. It made all the difference in the world. It really did. Like he said, people are complaining about Betaflight and how it doesn't work as well as Butterflight and some other uh, softwares or apps. But just changing my center weight just made all the difference. Hold on one second. Plug in. This thing's about to die. Yeah, the $80 kit on Amazon. I think it's Hobby Mate. You don't want it. The motors and the ESCs are no good. Is this thing charged? Yeah, okay, we're good. Yeah, you don't want that one. My kid just started whining. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, I take another look at those Eachines. Like I said, or check out the reviews that just came out on Drone Camps RC. He does really good reviews, and he just did in the past like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. He did some reviews on some really really nice quads that are like capable of like 5S and 6S even under the $200 mark. Like that are, I think one of them was like 170. Was a yeah, I think one was like 170. I don't know. Really awesome quads out of the box. I think they're just ready to go. I don't know if they're builds or not, but he does good reviews. That's a good reference. I'm gonna look up here. And another good source is, I think, Get FPV. I think they've got some decent deals. Yeah, they've got some deals. Ready to fly. Of course. They've got the happy model Mobula 7 2S. I need to look up the trash can reviews because they're all over the place right now. And you can't get any tiny whoops, man. If it's a freaking Mobula, a freaking Tiny Hawk, you can't find it. What's that? The trash cans? Or the new manufactured ones? Holy shit. QAV Schizo Dark Matter is $522. Trash cans. The Falcor. That was the break apart drone I was thinking of earlier. Hmm. What do you guys think about 3D? I've been thinking about trying to put together a 3D setup because the cost really isn't that much different. Uh, I think their builds are good. If you can track down all that stuff off Banggood and everything, nothing wrong with those builds. I think they're perfectly good. You know, a lot of it's going to be your flying, because um, his the $200 builds he did one last year and he did another one this year because it was so successful. There's so much power. You're if it's going to be your first build, it's just you know it's ridiculous the amount of power. It's like for me, and I was just flying on a 3S on the LHI that I got from Amazon. Yeah, I really want 3D, but the just I don't know, I was almost scared or intimidated the amount of power that these things have. It's gonna take getting used to. A, B, you're never gonna use all that power like you want to. It's gonna be hard to, because these things are so. I mean, you fly. You, you know how quick they. I mean, it's just wild how they can just stop turn. There's so much power in those kids. I don't really think it matters. I think I think it's your fly style. Frames have a big deal to do with it too. Like if you really want to fly freestyle, you're gonna need a rugged, robust frame uh, that's got thick arms on it. You don't want the thin arms or the stretch X. See, this is like a true X frame. I know some people do fly freestyle with race frames because they're lighter and they maneuver differently because the battery is usually on the bottom, so it sags around a corner. But if you wreck it, it's going to break. So I think those kits are fine, with the exception of just making sure you have the right frame. I just read a lot of reviews on frames. That's probably super important because I've gone through probably 10 frames since I've started, and there's a couple that I really like. I like this one because it's tight and it maneuvers nicely. The other one that I've flown the most on was a 250 millimeter, really rigid frame. Let me grab it. Hold on. It's a $20 frame off Amazon, but it's super rigid. It's a monster. It's huge. You could probably fit 6-inch props on it. Just to show you the comparison here, how much how much bigger that is with the wheelbase. Um, but that it it makes it more stable. The wider it is, it's a lot more stable to fly. Um, and if you look, you can see it's got a full double bottom plate, which some people are going to say, one flat, solid piece is the way to go. Um, I think this is a little bit better because it has a little bit of give. Um, oh, by the way, this frame broke in my on Christmas when I got stuck in that tree and it fell out. It hit, it hit just right, and I wrecked with this thing a whole bunch. But this frame is really, I could probably still fly with it, but it was just a little fractured. You can probably hear that. It's a little fractured. The soldering's not really hard. It's You just have to be comfortable, and you just have to have enough knowledge about solder. Soldering is not hard. You just have to understand the basic fundamentals of how it flows, and that's it. There's a lot of videos out there on that, but the soldering is not hard. It's actually, I don't know, it's pretty fun. Like, just to show you here, this is probably the hardest soldering you'd have to do. That's where your signal wires connect. These really small pads you don't use, really. Um, it's not that bad. You just get the right size soldering tip. It's not really that difficult, and especially if you get a set of helping hands, those tweezers that are just bendable arms. Get one of those. That's going to help so much. I've been meaning to get one. I asked for one for Christmas. I didn't get one, so I'm just going to have to take that upon myself to get one. But the more hands you have, or the more anchor points on something, it makes it a lot easier. If you can hold this a certain way and then, do your soldering. It takes not long to solder. I mean, you basically you take your solder iron real quick, and you take you prep your board. This is how you prep your board. You take your solder and you touch the terminals. They're all brass before. I have, you probably can't see that. I went ahead and soldered all these, or tinned them, is what people say. It's called tinning, where you're attaching solder to uh, the gold leaf on here, or whatever. It's tabs. They're gold tabs. Um, and you get your solder on there because of the flux. You got to solder that, or tin it. You got to tin your connections, and you got to tin your wire. Because if you don't tin both of them, it'll be really hard to connect it, because the solder binds to the metal, and so you're heating up the solder. It's easy. It really is easy. Don't be intimidated by soldering. Just make sure you have a good tip. Make sure you keep your tip clean. That's probably the biggest uh, thing, is keeping your solder tip clean. Because if you don't, you're gonna have all kinds of problems. That's where people are like, "Oh, I can't get the solder to melt," or you just let your soldering iron sit. I don't know if you can see that, but that's oxidized quite a bit just from sitting there. And what solder and flux was on there, uh, it oxidized because it burned up. It sat there and it got hot, and you know, shit turns to carbon. And when you've got a coating of carbon on here, just from it sitting in the air, it's going to get a coating of carbon on it. Stuff doesn't really like to stick to carbon, especially solder. So, like you probably saw me, I don't have a tip cleaner like I should, which is just like brass foil. I just do this. Same thing. Or if you get a glob on there, you can just tap it and your solder flies off. Like this is covered in solder that I just flip. Goggles. I would, you know, I don't really recommend any type because it's going to be preference. And how, you know, immersive or immersed you are into FPV. If you're going to be doing it every day, spend more money on the goggles, you know. The ones I have, they're okay. They were $65. I think they're the Eachine V2. I don't even think I brought them up. I think they're still in my car. VR007 something, I don't know. It's just a single screen. I'll say this. I will recommend that if you are gonna buy goggles, get some that have a DVR built in. So you don't have to have a GoPro. You can just record from your goggles in your DVR. Or an onboard DVR. But that's one thing I would make sure that your goggles have, and audio. You're gonna end up spending a lot more money on goggles once they have audio, but that's what everybody says you need is this the TBS Smart Audio running through your goggles, and you know that's it. Batteries. Look at do they come with extra batteries? Does it have a redundancy power option to where you can plug something else into it? My goggles, hold on. My goggles came with this piece of shit little battery, and it sucks, and it broke, and it doesn't even work anymore. So I had to take apart my goggles, attach my own connector, and I had to rip apart batteries to make my own 1S 3.7 volt cell batteries to power my goggles, which works just fine. But I had to go through all that extra effort because I didn't research redundancy power supplies for my goggles. And this was the only battery that it came with. I didn't look to see if they sell extras of these because they'd probably be more expensive than I'm willing to pay for them. For what it is, once you open it, there's not a whole lot in here as far as batteries go. So I just make my own, which are somewhere, because I need to charge them. I think they're still in my pockets this afternoon. They are. There's one. It's just a 2-cell battery that I ripped in half and soldered it to my specifications. And I put XT60s on there. And you'll see the zip ties on there. Lipos need pressure around them to help them work. So once you cut off some of the shrink wrap, if they're not touching this foil outside, let me take this off here. See, this was a typical 800 milliamp. So I've got two 400 milliamp hour one cells out of that. But that foil, that gray, there has to be pressure on there. Otherwise the battery won't perform very well. It won't have any charge because it's not getting a reaction. That's how they work. A chemical reaction, and the pressure just helps it. I guess it makes it contact. I don't know. I can't fully explain it. All I know is it needs pressure. Like when they're starting to die a little bit, I can just squeeze it. I'm not even joking. I can just squeeze it a little bit, and I get like a little bit of power. Anyway, that's probably not the best advice for lipos. Speaking of lipos, I feel like all I do now is charge batteries. I need to get one of those Venoms that's got 4 ports. And it's like an 800 watt charger. That's what I need, because I'm tired of charging one battery at a time. I started with 3S batteries, which there's plenty of power there. There really is. You can still perform acro, and there's plenty of speed. Hold on. My kid just woke up. Okay. 3S's. There's plenty of power in 3S's, and you get by with them, and they're good to learn on. But I would just go ahead and get 4, because once it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like crack or something like that. Because they say once you go crack, you never go back around. Once you taste the amount of power coming out of a 4S battery, you're not going to want to play with your 3S's anymore, because they're not as responsive. Even you get that. Okay, so if you know your basic power fundamentals, your kV, your motor's rotations per minute, so, or per volt per minute. So your 27 kV or 25, we'll say 25 kV motor is going to spin at like 25,000 RPM, a little bit more. With your 3S. With your 4S, you're going to get more punch out of it because of your extra voltage. You're going to get an extra like 5,000 revelations with that battery. It's just more responsive. So I would just say get the 4S. The the price point is not that different. They're really close. If you fly easier on a 4S, it'll last longer because it is a bigger battery. There's another cell in there. So you don't have to throttle up. If this makes sense, there's more, you have more throttle. So say if this is all your throttle and this is a 4S and this is a 3S, basically your 3 is a governed battery pack. You're only allowing your quad to take this much power versus this much power. So if you're doing acro and you're doing a dive and you're coming down fast and you want to pull out of it, you'll probably want that 4S power there. Though the 3S can handle it, a 4S just does it faster. That's all, just punchier. So, you don't have to deflect your sticks as far to get the same responsiveness with 4S as you do with 3. So if you're coming down and you want to pan out, you'll have to send that throttle up real high on a 3. So yeah, I would go with the 4. Even though I still fly all my 3s, I still have fun with them. I can't wait till I've burned up my 3s to move on to my 4S's and really have fun. But I'm still learning. I've only been doing this for 3 months, so I don't know. You can also set throttle parameters with your controller since they're all digital now. You can say, oh, I don't want to use 100% of the throttle, and you can set it to like 60, and that's what I did the first time I played with it. I didn't do any flips or anything. I just kind of flew around. I've actually got footage of my first flight. I should post that actually. I just went back and forth. I didn't do any flips or anything like that for like a couple weeks. I didn't do anything like that until I had practiced in a simulator, which I highly recommend a simulator. I've got liftoff, and it's a lot easier to wreck and hit reset than it is to wreck and sit down for a night and rebuild your quad. Plus, it's just cool to meet people in the community on those. So, well, it's getting pretty late here. I think it's 12:45. I'm definitely not going to be able to stick around for this. Oh wait, what do we got here? What's that? Garpot. Yeah, Garpot's good. Garpot. I also fly. That's my newest one. One thing you want to look at is the C rating. So you can. This is 75C. And this is 100C. That's the amount the battery can. That's the rate that the battery can discharge. So this can discharge faster And this one, you can pull the energy out of this faster. Some people say you can really feel the difference between the 75 and the 100C. I can't tell the difference. So I don't know. I would go for the higher C rating because you can, the power's there if you need it. Look for that. I think they cost a little bit more, but I would look for a higher C rating just because. Like, what do I got? Here's 25C. Okay, I fly with this when I practice my like smooth long range stuff. This big old 22. I usually don't fly accurate with this because it's just not for that because it's got 25C. It's a laggy battery that feels like it just doesn't feel like it has all the power that the others do. So I guess between a 25 and a 100C, you can notice the difference. But on your 4S's, I would definitely don't get anything lower than 75. Yeah, these are good. I really can't tell the difference between the two of these batteries. I really can't. I haven't been flying that long, so. But they seem to last about the same. Battery maintenance is big, really, really big. You can have a year-old battery that you treated great, and then you can have a month-old battery that you just treated like shit, and you'll be able to tell the difference. Don't let your batteries discharge below 3 volts per cell. Like, I stopped flying when they're at like 3.5 to 3.3 volts. If they go lower than that, you're gonna hurt your batteries. And when you charge at say if you have a 1500, you want to charge at 1.5 amps. If you have a 2200, like this one, you want to charge it 2.2 amps. So always put a decimal in between the first two numbers, and that's what amperage you want to charge at. You can charge your batteries faster, but it's bad for them. So you want to charge them at the rate listed. I know there's other tricks you can do, like fast charge and bump the voltage up, which just charges the whole battery as a whole. It doesn't balance charge. And then you can cut it off when you've got like a volt to go, and then hook it up to the balance and top it off with the balance. But it's still bad for your battery, quick charging. So I slow charge. I don't overcharge. Don't overcharge your batteries. That's also bad for it. People that race will tend to charge. They'll upcharge by like maybe a volt or a couple tenths of a volt, just to squeeze whatever extra milliamps they can in there. So yeah, go to 4S. Don't do 3S. Read your reviews on the batteries on Amazon. I usually don't buy anything if it doesn't even have at least a few reviews, and make sure you can tell that a legitimate person bought it and wrote the review instead of some person that was paid and they're like, yeah, shipped fast, works great. That's not a review. Good batteries, and I think the reviews on this one were better than these in the Gart pot. Yeah, I think these were way better. I can't really tell a difference. They're pretty much the same quality. They're built the same. All these batteries are built the same. They're probably all built in the same place. They just put a different sticker on it and heat shrink it. Like, honestly, these almost look like the same exact battery, but they are a little different. I don't know. Alright. I'm tired as hell. So, I'm going to call it a night. Here in 2 minutes. After I finish putting this stuff away. In case you guys didn't notice, I ramble like a motherfucker. So, sorry for all the rambling. Once I get going, I just don't stop. Yeah. I spent about that much when I got everything, because I bought the GoPro session and everything. Yeah, I spent about 400, 450, something like that. So 329 sounds about right. Just to, evaluate your options, make sure you've checked your, make sure that's what you want before you hit go. Thanks, man. Good luck to you too. And thanks for tuning in, guys. And tomorrow I'm getting my camera, so might do a live stream for that, might not. I'm not sure. We'll see how tired I am, because I was up pretty late last night, and it's 1 o'clock now, so I gotta get up at 5:50 to leave for work at 6:10. So you guys have a good one. All right, peace out.